right. All right. I'm going to go ahead and start. My name is Fred Campbell. I am the director of the Howard County Historical Society, and I want to welcome you all to today's Friday lunch lecture. I know it was a little bit of a pivot because of what happened this week with the snow, and we've had some issues with spike in COVID cases. So we decided to shift from a face-to-face meeting, which we normally have at our museum, to one that is on Zoom. And hopefully everything tech-wise will go well today. So we want to thank everybody for logging in. I can see we got very good numbers here, which is fantastic. And hopefully a few more will join as we go. Today, we're going to be talking about a term that most of you are going to hear an awful lot this year, which is something called EC250. This is the 250th anniversary of Ellicott City, and there are going to be a huge number of events that are going to occur throughout the year concerning that particular anniversary. Howard County Historical Society is part of that sort of EC250 celebration. We're going to be doing a number of fantastic things at our museum in terms of presentations and other things. And certainly you want to keep your eyes peeled for those announcements as the year progresses. And so that we can sort of give you all an idea of what is going to be happening over the course of the year, we thought it appropriate to have some individuals come on and explain all of the great things that are going to be happening this year in conjunction with EC250. So if you're interested in the future to come to another one of our Friday lunch lectures, one of the places that you can go is to our website, which is www.hchsmd.org, or you can Google Howard County Historical Society. It's the first link that pops up. And in there, we do have a list of our future lunch lectures. So I'm just going to share that screen with you just real quick. You'll notice that we have today's lunch lecture featured, and then we have a lunch lecture every single month. And the overwhelming majority of those lunch lectures are going to focus on events that occurred in Ellicott City. Not exclusively, we have a few things that span out to other areas of Howard County history, but just a ton of things that are going to be happening in terms of our lunch lectures, talking about military history, labor history, some of the major events that have happened in Ellicott City and the broader Howard County area, sometimes focusing on specific institutions like the Tapsco Female Institute. We're going to be talking about Benjamin Banneker, so individuals of that sort of background and the impact on Howard County history. So I really encourage everybody to go to that website, look at those lunch lectures, and then if you want to sign up, do the same thing that you did today. Just write a short, quick email to info at hchsmd.org. Let us know which lunch lectures you're interested in, and we'll make sure that we get you guys down on our list, okay? But enough from me. You didn't come to hear me lecture and talk to you for the next hour. I'm going to be handing the reins over to our two presenters today. And who we have with us today is Ed Lilly and Victoria Goodman, who are going to spend the next hour talking about all the fantastic things that you can look forward to over the next year. So Victoria, if you want to make sure, and Ed, you want to make sure that you unmute. For everybody who is participating, you are more than welcome to put any questions that you have in chat. And then at the end, if you do have questions that you want to ask, you can certainly unmute yourself at the end of the lecture to have any questions that you might have. But during the presentation itself, if you could stay muted, that would be fantastic so we don't get a lot of feedback. Victoria, I'm going to hand over to you the hosting duties in about 3 seconds. And there we go. You should be host now. And I'm going to go ahead and mute myself and take it away, guys.
All right. Well, Fred, thank you so very much. And thank the Howard County Historical Society for inviting us to be part of this, and certainly for all the work that you are doing along with us leading up to this big year. Ed and I are members of the board of directors for EC250, and we've been working, the two of us at least, have been working for at least 3 years, I know. I was happy to come to the aid of my good friend Ed when he said someone should be doing something to celebrate this big anniversary. And so put our heads together, formed a nonprofit, and here we are, and the year is upon us. So we're very excited about what we have planned. Um, and it's a little scary. It's getting very big, and we are a group of volunteers. We have one part-time paid position, but primarily everything that we are doing is all volunteer with the help of many of our partner organizations. The Historical Society, of course, is one of the big ones. So we have a presentation. We're going to begin with the day. Ed, do you want to say anything before we start?
No, just glad that the year is finally here and looking forward to it being over.
Uh, all right, well, I am going to try to share my screen and make myself tech savvy here, everyone. And bear with me is all I can say if things go wrong. So I'm going to do the best I can. And of course, right away, I need to share my screen first here with you guys. So, all right. Hopefully you're going to be seeing that now.
Yep,
Yes.
good to go.
Everybody good? All right. So we were very happy that EC250 at the very beginning that a very kind sponsor stepped forward to be our presenting sponsor. And as you can see on the screen, it is the Playground Studio and Gallery in Ellicott City. What a kind contribution they made that has enabled us to bring this year to you, in addition to some other people who we will recognize in just a few. So we invite you, as we've invited all of our partners over the past 3 years, to celebrate then and now with us and join us as we celebrate and rediscover the history and charm of historic Ellicott City, Maryland, the town that is older than the United States of America. Who we are, have a list there. You'll recognize many of those names, I believe. We've received the support of some really wonderful community leaders and members, and we cannot thank them enough for lending their names to this effort, and in many cases, also their financial support. Our board of directors are also some people that you might recognize there on the side. And our new project coordinator is Rita Hamlet, who we are counting on to help us cross the T's and dot all the I's this year. Our vision, and this is a vision that we were so happy that many of our collaborating partners shared with us. And our vision was that residents and visitors alike, they would recognize and appreciate and celebrate the founding of historic Ellicott City, Maryland, on the occasion of this, the 250th anniversary, and that they would do so by participating in a series of entertaining, educational, and informative events and experiences, and that those activities would raise the visibility of the town's historic value and help us create a better understanding of Ellicott City's national significance and the role it played in the birth of our nation. I would venture to say that a majority of you who are joining us today are well aware of the national significance and Ellicott City's history. But as the years go by, I do believe that there are a number of people associated that visit the town, that even live in the area, that really don't understand everything that went on in this valley and the importance that it had over the years in not only Maryland, but as I said, the nation's history. Our mission, EC250, was to provide an overarching leadership and coordination and support that brings together our local stakeholders to help us plan and collaboratively create this educational and celebratory anniversary year. We wanted to fill it with initiatives that honored the founding of historic Ellicott City through a variety of activities, programs, events, and learning experiences. And we are just thrilled beyond thrilled. So many people stepped up and said, sure, we'll be part of this. We knew what we were dealing with. We didn't know at the time that we were going to be dealing with a pandemic. We did know that we were going to be dealing with some uncertainty about the main street and what was going to be happening there. We are trying to stay flexible throughout that. And then we had the pandemic, and we're trying to stay flexible with that. So we just cannot thank the individuals that you see, the organizations that you see on your screen right now for being part of this with us. We're just so happy that, they said, yes, let us think about what we can do that year that helps raise Ellicott City up And they've really stepped forward. So I'm not going to read them all, just give you a minute to see who's involved in this and to express our thanks to all of them. And of course, in addition to these organizations who they are lending financial support, obviously, through their programming, they're lending in-kind support, they're lending their staff to us to help make this happen. We also have some very generous supporters. And again, we would like to recognize them too. And we'll do that here. First and foremost, I mentioned the Playground, but second certainly would be Howard County government, the county executive, the county council there. They did award us a very generous grant for this one-time event. And the Maryland Heritage Area Authorities, through Patapsco Heritage Greenway, have provided a grant that is enabling us to do a number of the projects that you're going to hear about. Some of our bigger sponsors, you'll see there, certainly Clark's Hardware, Slack Funeral Home. We have two private investors that have stepped forward with a very generous contribution, as have everybody on this screen. So again, big thanks to all of them. And we are still looking for sponsors. Our big sponsorship levels are primarily gone, but we do have underwriting opportunities for particular events that we'll be seeking throughout the year. They're at a lot lesser level than what we had originally offered as sponsorships. So what's going on? So this is what's coming. First thing, in just a little over 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks, is the launch at the Welcome Center. We had hoped that COVID would not be upon us, but it is, and it will be a hybrid virtual launch at this point, and it will be the launch for the Sesquicentennial, but in addition, it will also be the opening of the Historical Society's Milltown to City, exhibit at the Welcome Center that envisions the main street of Ellicott City and its transformation over the years. It's going to be there through the entire year, which is a wonderful opportunity for visitors to the town to really get a look at the evolution of Ellicott City's Main Street. And in addition to the Sesquicentennial launch on January 22nd, right after the opening at the Welcome Center, Wiley Perky, who many of you I'm sure may be familiar with, he's created a beautiful series of art, A Brush with History, and he is going to have all of the original 50 paintings on display in a gallery at the Art in Ellicott City's A Gallery of Art. That is going to be opening on January 22nd, and the gallery, his gallery, will be open through the next week. And hopefully we'll get a lot of people down there to take a look and experience Wiley's Ellicott City, which is very fanciful, as many of you may know, and just a wonderful nostalgic walk through Ellicott City through his artistic abilities. And we're looking forward to our commemorative magazine, which should hit the streets at the same time that we launch the Sesquicentennial. So copies will be available, and if anybody would like any of those copies, just please let us know. I'm sure the Historical Society is going to have some there at the museum, and they'll be available in any number of places. So in February, Howard County Historical Society, one of the big things that they've been working on with us is the Ellicott Legacy exhibit, which is going to open at the museum. And I'm sure towards the end, maybe Fred would like to talk a little bit more about that. We are also hoping to have a sneak peek preview of the new Children's Museum, along with a ticketed opening of the Ellicott Legacy exhibit. That would be towards the end of February. And also at that event and premiering in February is a new video that Patapsco Heritage Greenway and EC250 has been working on with Maryland Public Television. They were the producers, and it will be called Pioneering Along the Patapsco. And we thank Patapsco Heritage Greenway very, very much for their financial support to make this video happen. It is historic, it has history It also has history about the valley, about the river, but it also takes a look at what's going on and happening today in Ellicott City and why Ellicott City is a great place to visit for everyone. So we're hoping that it kind of checks off a lot of boxes. In March, Patapsco Heritage Greenway again will have an Ellicott City focus on their Patapsco Day series. And then I'm going to let Ed speak a little bit about what may be our involvement with History Days with the Howard County Public School System, and also the Irish Railroad Workers museums coming to town. Ed?
Yeah, the History Days, National History Days is an extended academic program focused on historical research, interpretation, and creative expression for 6th to ninth grade students. National History Days not only transports classrooms back in time during the school year, it transforms young minds forever. The 18th annual Howard County History Day competition will be held in virtual format this year in March of 2022. Their fervent desire was to host it in person, but they are looking at being proactive with safety first. They plan to pre-record an awards presentation to post for the public on March the 12th. And our participation is the category is celebrating 250 years of Ellicott City history. And it showcases an event or person that had a significant impact on the previous 250 years of history of Ellicott City. Some of the topics that the students may include are the Ellicott Brothers, the Quaker community, Benjamin Banneker, Patapsco Female Institute, B&O Railroad, Patapsco Guards, mill community's contribution in general, impact of weather change and climate events, and preservation and development and sustainable growth. So we're very much looking forward to that. Um, uh, the students can they can, but they do much research. They create displays. Sometimes they do videos. When it's in person, some of them even dress up as historic characters. It's a fantastic event. If you can ever be involved in it in the future, please try to do so. Irish Railroad Workers Museum coming. They're going to talk about the many Irish railroad laborers who helped build the first 13 miles of railroad out here to Ellicott's Mills. So we're looking forward to that as well.
Thank you, Ed. In April, of course, a really big event that we're very excited for the Historical Society to share with us is the grand opening of the Ellicott Mills Children's Museum. Along with that, there's going to be a new children's activity book, 250 Years of Ellicott Mills History. And this is a evolutionary piece from the Passport to History that Historical Society normally publishes. And this year we'll have a focus on Ellicott City and the 250 years, and also some interactions with the next topic, History Comes Alive. This is something I'm going to let Ed talk a little bit about. This is a big piece of, we feel, that what we're doing. Ed?
Yep, we are very excited to be able to bring period craftspeople to town on select weekends, as well as some historical interpreters portraying some noted figures and some portraying ordinary citizens. The noted characters that will be seen around town are Benjamin Banneker, George Ellicott, and his daughter Martha Ellicott Tyson, and Almira Hart Lincoln Phelps, headmistress of the Patapsco Female Institute. Our craftsmen and women include blacksmiths, sutlers, and seamstresses, rope makers, broom makers, woodwrights, colonial cooks, caners, bandbox makers, and colonial women showcasing children's games and doll making.
This is, we think, is going to really, really uh, improve. I don't know whether improves the word, but just going to make the experience that visitors have to the town a little more exciting, give them something to come and
Enhance
happen
the
upon.
experience.
Pardon?
Enhance the experience.
Thank you. Enhance. Yes, that's the word. Enhance this experience for sure. So we're really excited about those weekends, and it's almost every weekend, isn't it, Ed? Beginning in April through what?
It's at least 2 weekends every month, and we may be adding more through November. Yep, April
So
through November.
yeah, that's going to be a really nice thing. And what I was mentioning before is I do believe that the 250 years of Ellicott Mills history children's activity book will also have them interacting with some of the reenactors on these weekends, or give them the opportunity. That'll be one of the activities. Another activity we're excited about that's going to take place on Main Street is through collaboration with HOCO Palizzo, the Howard County Poetry and Literature Society. It's called See Through Poems, and their concept and what they'll be doing is they have 25 poems that relate to the town. Some are about the town, some are older poems, some will be poems that their members may have written about the town. Some of the poems may be about railroading, some may be about even granite, the rock that's so popular there. But all in all, it will be about things that are focused towards Ellicott City. And these poems will be on display in windows in shops where people can do a poetry walk of sorts down the street. They will later then be published in a little booklet that's being sponsored and with a grant from Patapsco Heritage Greenway. And also, there's going to be a poetry reading, and I talk about this later on in June at the museum of these poems. And it will be a community poetry reading where members of the community are going to be invited to read the poems. The other thing that's happening in April, and very excited about this, is Manor Hill Brewery has agreed to produce their popular Manor Hill IPA in 3 EC250 commemorative cans. And they will host 3 weekends at the farm where we hope to take some of the history of Ellicott City out to their audience, including some of the reenactors that we have on board to work through the whole year with us. And these cans, we hope, will be a collector series. I can share with you today the name of the first one. Please keep this under your hat. It will be titled In the Hollow. And of course, that refers to Ellicott City's location and a passage from Martha's book where she talks about the location in this wild place called the Hollow. In May, I'm going to let Ed talk a little bit about this. Another very exciting thing, the descendants of the Miami Nation will be visiting town. And their connection, Ed?
Well, our town founders were Quakers, and that religious group, among others, did extensive outreach to Native Americans. During Christmas week in 1807, there arrived in town Indians, Native Americans, who had been in Washington, D.C., and they were coming through Maryland. They were overnighting in Ellicott's Mills, and George Ellicott invited them to his home. While not native to the area, Chief Mishikanakwa, or Little Turtle of the Miami Nation, spent time in Ellicott City as the guest of George Ellicott. The Baltimore area Quakers taught the Miamis of Indiana East Coast farming methods. The Ellicott family long worked to better the lives of the tribes throughout the East Coast, seeking to mitigate the destructive forces of the white man on Native Americans. Joining us will be Diane Hunter, who is a Miami tribe descendant, and she will be talking about the Miami history, Mishikanakwa, Little Turtle, and also the tribe today.
I'd alluded a little bit to our involvement with the public school system, but we're also very pleased to have as a partner Historic Ellicott City, Inc., who are sponsoring the EC250 essay contest within the schools. And that award presentation for the essays will be made in May, I believe. And just to give you a little bit of information about what that essay contest entails, you'll see on your screen what the prizes are. They're thanks to Historic Ellicott City, Inc. There will be 3 divisions with 3 prizes awarded in each division. These are cash prizes, and we believe that they will be an incentive for our students to learn a lot more about the history and explore Ellicott City's founding and many of the activities that happened over the years. So we want to thank Historic Ellicott City, Inc. today for stepping up and sponsoring that contest for us. June, an event that I am particularly excited about. There'll be a ribbon cutting and opening celebration of a new interpretive feature at the Patapsco Female Institute. We're doing this certainly in partnership with Howard County Recreation and Parks Heritage Division and Howard County Garden Club. The new feature will be called Mary Jourdan Coleman's Garden at Patapsco Female Institute and Historical Park. And this new feature was inspired by the finding of a journal of one of the former students that contained flower pressings that were made from flowers collected while she was at the Institute. And based on these flower pressings, the Garden Club has researched native plants and selected a number of them to be planted in a new garden feature at the Institute. But in addition to the garden feature, there will also be a wonderful interpretive display created there about Elmira Hart Lincoln Phelps, telling her story as a female botanist and how renowned that was for the time and for a woman. So we couldn't be more excited about this. There was a wonderful article. I don't know if any of you saw it. I'd be happy to share it, a link with you if you have it, in the Washington Post magazine about this project and about PFI and Elmira. So also joining us today, I know on the call, is one of the researchers from the Howard County Recreation and Parks Heritage Division, Riley Goodman, who discovered the journal. So we are very excited about this project. And in addition to that, in June, Colonial Market Fair, it's an annual event, but they are one of our partners over at the Benjamin Banneker Historical Park and Museum. And they're going to be certainly raising up Benjamin maybe in a little bit higher way there at the fair this year. And as I mentioned, the see-through poems, this will be the community poetry reading. It'll be happening in June. Ed, do you have any more insight into the Colonial Market Fair?
Just it's been going on for over 10 years. It's a great experience for people seeing early American life. You discover the life and times of Benjamin Banneker, of course. He will be on hand doing presentations. There's crafts, there's music, there's games, there's reenactors. It's a family fun event, free admission. There are also food vendors and also the opportunity to visit the Banneker Museum there.
It's a really fun event. If there are people on here who haven't been to it before, it's really very nice. And, you know, we have tried to keep in mind in thinking about Ellicott City's big anniversary that it really did begin in Baltimore County. So Benjamin is a big part, and the OELA scene is a big part of kind of what happened here in Ellicott City. So another annual event that will have an EC250 focus this year is the annual Paint It plein air event that brings numbers of artists to town. EC250 is going to be awarding a special prize for the best depiction of a historical event or historical building site. I want to let Ed talk a little bit more about this next event that is in the planning stages and one that we're very excited about, the Fells Lane Community Reunion.
This will be a gathering of the former residents and descendants of residents of the Ellicott City African American communities located on Fells Lane and at the Hilltop Housing Complex that was just off of Ellicott Mills Drive, which replaced the homes on Fells Lane. It's going to be oral history programs, photo displays, a lot more. It's an event to help celebrate and document Ellicott City's amazing, cohesive, and resilient African American community. We are very much looking forward to this. We are planning, if we get our permits, for the event to take place on Lot F, which is where the actual Fells Lane community existed prior to its demolition and the move of the residents up to Hilltop. So very excited about this.
We're also very thankful to a participating sponsor, Slack Funeral Homes, that stepped forward to underwrite a large portion of this event. So we thank them very much for that. Our For the Record digitization days, there's going to be 4 of these. I noted it in July. However, there will be 4 over the course of the year. We don't have the exact dates for all 4 of those, but the concept for this is that we're going to invite the community to come in, and we will have a scanner set up where they could scan any old photos, maps, any kind of item that would work on a scanner that we can then record and contribute that scanned item to the collection at the Historical Society. We think that there are a lot of information out there, and that a lot of community members would be really excited about being able to share that for future generations. So if you, any of you on here today, have any old items that would work that we could scan, please check our website in the coming days about when those digitization days are going to be happening, and you'll see more about it on our website also. August is the opening of a collaborative partnership between Howard County Arts Center for the Arts, the Howard County Arts Council, and the Howard County Historical Society. Another one of my personal favorites, and what we have done, the Historical Society has made available to artists approximately 50 50 artifacts, I believe, photos from their Ellicott collection that artists have taken a look at, and we ask that they become inspired and create something totally new that relate to these Ellicott artifacts. And then those artists who are selected to participate will be part of the Howard County Center for the Arts annual gallery show that opens in August. So finding a new way to look at history through new eyes, we believe that this is another exhibit that will take the story of Ellicott City into a whole new direction and into a whole new audience. In September, the usual date for the Main Street Music Fest. Ed, if you have any information about that.
I just know that it is being planned, and I believe it's September the 17th. It's the scheduled date for this year.
Okay. And we are working with the partnership, and they are working to obviously make each of their events a very special one for the anniversary year. Mention again Wiley's A Brush with History. We're excited to take his whole exhibit to Columbia, to the Columbia Arts Center in September. So a road trip of sorts, giving a whole other audience an opportunity to have a sort of virtual walk down Main Street or down the memory lane of Wiley's Main Street outside of the town. So we're excited that we're able to share again his art with an audience that may not normally get a chance to see it. In October, we're going to be placing an EC250 time capsule at the Historic Log Cabin on Main Street. This is something we're doing in conjunction with Howard County government, and you'll be hearing more about the types of items we'll want to be collecting for that. Miami Nation is going to come back to town for that event. I think it's on October 8th, correct, Ed?
Yes, that's correct.
October 8th, yeah. And the Babe Ruth Museum is coming to town in October also. Ed can tell you a little more about that connection.
Well, Mr. Babe Ruth, at his one of his stints in Boston, fell in love with a woman named Helen Woodford, a waitress that he had met at a diner there. And once the season was over, he returned to Baltimore, and he asked permission of his father to get married. His father gave permission, and on October the 14th, 1914, Babe and Helen boarded a B&O train and rode that first 13 miles of commercial railroad from Baltimore to Ellicott's Mills or Ellicott City, and then went up the hill to St. Paul's Church as Mr. Ruth was baptized and raised as a Catholic. And they were married in St. Paul's in October. The pastor at the time was Father Thomas Dolan, and it was just the Babe and Helen, the priest, and I think two witnesses, of whom one of which I believe was related to the priest that was the officiant there. So we're looking forward to that. The Babe Ruth Birthplace and Museum is going to present information on George Herman Ruth and his life and baseball career. So we're looking forward to that.
In November, we're still working on filling out the end of the year calendar, but we do know that it is Benjamin Banneker's birthday month, and so we're hoping to work with the Banneker Museum and finding a fun way to celebrate that. Ed, do you have any more to add on that?
I do not. It's always I think it's always the weekend prior to his actual birth date, and I don't have it in my brain at the moment. But
So we're looking still as the year rounds out to kind of fill in November there. In December, we are thanking again the Howard County Historical Society for looking towards the town of Ellicott City to host their annual Holiday House Candlelight Tour. That's still in the development stages, but we're hoping that that can happen in town. And our big event that really we haven't said a lot about yet, and so many of you are going to be the first to hear about this, is a new musical. It's called On National Road, and it will be premiering in December at the Horowitz Center at Howard Community College. And I'm going to let Ed talk a little bit more about how this came about and what it's about. So, Ed?
yes, we were actually, I think, technically, I think it was the Ptepsko Heritage Greenway was approached by the author of this musical, and she is a local resident, Ellen Navalny, who lives in Howard County. And she has worked on this for, I think, maybe 15 years, I believe. It's certainly close to that. And it's obviously an original new musical. It's chronicling historic milestones during the past 250 years in Ellicott City and Howard County. It's set to premiere in December of this year. We will be featuring vignettes throughout the year at select events. There's a great connection besides Ellen as a Howard County resident and author. Kevin Crouch, who teaches in Howard County at Wild Lake High School, has been majorly involved with Ellen in the songs. We also have Colin Hodge working on in connection with this, who's an Ellicott City resident, and Philip Millman, who's a Wild Lake graduate now living in California. So it's an entertaining, family-oriented, educational experience. It features 17 songs in various musical genres, portraying stories significant to historic Ellicott City, Howard County. It's set in a home where the grandparents are seeking to entertain their grandchildren with a puzzle on a rainy afternoon. And various historic moments come to life through in song as pieces of the puzzle are fit together. Historic figures including the Ellicott brothers, Charles Carroll, Benjamin Banneker, and even Babe Ruth populate some of the songs. The lyrics highlight the Patapsco River, the famous race between the Tom Thumb and the horse-drawn train vehicle, and even the large rock in Ellicott City's Main Street. There's even a nod to Jim Rouse from the 60s and his planned City of Columbia as the musical draws to a close. We are very, very excited about this. This is a historical document, in a sense, that will live on beyond this, we believe, to entertain and educate both local people and visitors for many years to come.
So yes, this is something that we are very happy to have had the support of a number of individuals, two anonymous donors who are really making this possible because obviously this little volunteer group of EC250 had no idea about how to produce a musical. We love the idea. We are contributing a piece of the finances toward this, but we could not possibly have paid for the whole thing and still do a lot of the other things that we had planned. So we are thankful to two very generous anonymous donors who have stepped forward to make this possible. And Jesse Baxter, I just wanted to mention, he's also a Howard County resident who is our producer. So there's a lot planned. I was hoping to share a song from the musical with you. I'm not sure that I can. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen at this point, and then I may, Fred, try to share that song. If you give me just a minute, I'm going to stop sharing the screen and then try to share my sound and see if it works. And if it doesn't, we will stop it there, and then we'll take any questions you might have about what we've told you. We hope that we've given you enough that you're excited about the year. And please, anything that you want to share with us about ideas you may have, things you might get involved with, we'd love to hear it. We're looking for volunteers, that's for sure, to help out with some of our events. So again, we thank the Historical Society for this opportunity and for all they're doing for this. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and then I will try to share my sound, and if that doesn't work, we'll go back to you, Fred. So I've stopped sharing the screen. Oh, there we go. And I'm going to get out of that. And I am going to see if I can share my sound here. And you tell me if you can hear this.
Sing me
Yes,
a
we can.
memory.
Okay.
Sing me a song that gives me hope, that makes me strong. The past is over yet, in ways it still lives on. So sing me a memory in song. Bring me a memory, they all belong. The beautiful, the ugly, the righteous, and the wrong. These are the pieces we will build our future on. So sing me a memory in song. Make me a memory, sing loud in times that make you feel, and times that make you proud. Tomorrow is a minute, but lives a life that's long. So make it count and sing me a song. What is it about me to note and rhyme? You're standing in one time, and somehow you are carried to what was before. You're here and yet not here. Songs bring the pastime near. Can you sing and hear it? It's the song of sing me a song that gives us hope, that makes us strong. The past is over yet, the dreams they still live on. So sing me a memory, bring me a memory, make me a memory, and then sing me a memory again.
And there you go. I hope everyone enjoyed that. And again, you are the first, and that is a very preliminary early recording of that. So we hope you enjoyed that. Fred, turn it back to you.
All right, thank you. Let me take 1 second and just reclaim the hosting, the power of the host. Hang on. All right.
Yes.
All right, it's back to me. Well, I absolutely want to thank Ed and Victoria for sharing all of the wonderful things that are going to happen today. I'm so proud to be part of the Howard County Historical Society, which is partnering with so many of these different events that are going on. Just a little, just to recap 1 or 2 things in terms of our particular group's participation. do want to remind you that a number of our lunch lectures are geared towards the EC250, the Children's Museum, which is going to be opening up in April. If you're a member, you'll be getting some nice emails about the things that are going to be coming in April with the opening of that fantastic new addition to our historical society. The holiday house tour, which is way in the future, so I don't want to make any promises, is, however, going to one way or another be focused very much on Ellicott City in terms of how what we're going to be running. So many things are going on, but we do have some questions in the chat, which I want to give Victoria and Ed an opportunity to respond to. So let me just read a few of those. While the presentation was going on, Connie had chimed in asking if there's going to be poetry reading at the PFI garden event. Do you know if that's going to be included in that particular event?
There will be a 1 or 2 poems read there, but we couldn't fit all of the poems in that event. And that's one of the reasons that Calypso and the Howard County Historical Society thought it would be wonderful to do a longer poetry reading at the museum in June. So,
right. We had a question about the URL website, and then Rita put that in the chat. So just to say it so that everybody knows, EC250.com. You can go there and get a tremendous amount of information. And I do know from all of the other partners, a lot of them have added links and are sort of posting on their own websites about the things that are happening in EC250. So again, EC250 is a term that by December you'll know thoroughly. It's going to be all over the place. Couple of things. Will there be some kind of soundtrack or recording of the songs from the musical? Do you know if there's going to be any sort of plans to put anything out in terms of that?
Ed?
I'm not positive, but I think the answer is yes.
Okay. And just scrolling down, some individuals asked if they could get a copy of the slides that were shown.
Yes.
And in terms of questions, do you know when tickets for the musical will be available and how people can get a hold of those tickets?
Ed?
I don't know that we've set a date yet for the ticket availability.
Okay. I know that some people put questions in the chat. Are there any participants that would like to ask questions? Now, if you do, please, when you unmute, ask your question, and when you're done, please mute yourself again so that, again, we're not getting any sort of feedback in terms of microphones. Does anybody have a question in particular that would like to ask one? Scanning and scrolling.
Questions can always be sent to our email, which is ec250inc@gmail.com.
Fred, this is Paul Hunter. You might have said this in the beginning. I lost your audio when you did that switchover. Do you have any update on the annual meeting? I think it's next month, isn't it?
The annual board meeting, you can certainly email me and I can give you some of those details. We're working out a few of those details now for the board meeting.
Is the date set?
We do, but if you email me that, because this is not quite the venue for that information, I can certainly give that to you in email, because we're still working out whether it's going to be in person, whether it's going to be a Zoom event and all those things.
I got it. Thank you.
Times. Yeah. Any other questions about the presentation or EC250 at all?
I would like to just recognize, I saw one of our fellow board members, Grace Kabasic, there on the Zoom. Just want to recognize her. Also want to recognize George Ellicott. Did you see that George joined us? He's going to become a very popular guy, you know. There's a nice...
Look, I just figured out how to unmute. Look at all these people. How did you bring me back from the dead? That's There's so much to rediscover about how this town has changed. It was so different when I was first here, when I first came in the valley. You probably can hardly imagine now. It was a wilderness. There was huge trees, and we'll be reviewing some of that as we discuss the history this year.
Well, thank you, George. We're so happy to have you back for the year. So.
Thank you.
Vicki and Ed, thanks for doing this. Okay, it was great. I have tears in my eyes now from hearing the music. Okay? All right.
Surprise me every time.
Yeah, special. Can't wait to buy tickets. Okay.
Yeah, Grace and Ed have been very big advocates for the musical, and I give them big kudos for helping make it happen. One other person on this Zoom call that I would like to recognize, of course, is one of our sponsors, and it's Michael. See if I can say this right, Michael Koplow. And thank you for tuning in today. And yes, we will get you a copy of this presentation.
Well, thank you very much. I just want to say this was a fabulous presentation, and every slide that came up gave me chills of what's happening. And I am humbled with all the people that are on this screen and how much effort is going into this. We just couldn't be happier. So thank you for letting us have this opportunity. So
Thank you, and Ellen and Matt.
Well, we want to thank everybody for being here today. We're going to go ahead and end the meeting. I am recording this meeting, and hopefully we'll be able to post this on our YouTube channel within the next couple of days or a week. So if you wanted to go back to get some of the details of all the events broken down month by month, you're more than welcome to do that. On behalf of the Howard County Historical Society and EC250, we look forward to seeing you guys back here for our Friday lunch lectures. You all have a good day. And again, Victoria and Ed, thank you very much for your time. All right. See y'all
Thank you,
later.
Fred.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.